All right, everybody, this will be warning to all politicians. I'm running for president 2024, part 130, I believe. Or, no, 131, maybe. Yeah, 131, we'll call it. Just a quick one here. And we're outside of lovely El Paso, Texas. Actually, state line, New Mexico and Texas. Lovely Vinton, Texas. So, very brisk morning. Cold front moving in is dropping temps down to the high 20s in the early morning hours. And boy, how about that global warming? Anyhow, speaking of global warming, which is the purpose of this video, whether it's global warming or any other kind of science, there are a lot of well-meaning people in the, I guess now, business of science, whether it's medical science, climate, what have you. And there are some who've taken political sides and are just the mouthpieces for either an industry or political agendas, etc., etc. And other ones who just, it's what they've learned in university, and to them that's the gospel, and they just keep following that. And maybe that leads them to their careers working for, a certain industry or certain political agendas, what have you. So anyway, there's a thing on YouTube, if you look it up, and it has Leonard Nimoy in it, Mr. Spock. And it says, remembering the coming ice age. And it was done in the 70s, I believe, the late 70s, 78 or 79, something. And, just had some of the worst winters. And they put this special on. They talked to all these climate scientists. A lot of them use the same language you hear from them now, only instead of global warming, they were pushing coming ice age. Now, all the same scientific stuff, ice cores or bores, whatever you want to talk about, sampling deep beneath the Arctic ice, and saying that's taking them back in history, and being able to look at, the climate conditions, etc. All the same stuff, only they were saying we were heading for a deep freeze. So, those of you who, whether you've decided one way or another, if you believe in global warming, really should look at all the sides and information. There's also things by Information Institute and others with Willie Soon and other scientists talking about global warming, what have you. But it's just if you go back and you watch that thing with Leonard Nimoy, it should just be an eye-opener that you can't latch on to something and be so adamant about it. And, these people all need funding to do the things they do and to make a paycheck and to be able to write their books and get on TV shows and make this is how they make their money. Sensationalism, they can't exactly use the old advertising ways of sex sells, this and that. So they got to use alarmism, sensationalism. They have to use, kids like, what's her name, Greta Van, or no, whatever her name was. Supposedly, I think they say she supposedly sailed across the ocean. I don't know if they were saying by herself or whatever to get here and inform us all on global warming. Anyway, if that's what they say, she was by herself, that's a crock of shit. And what kind of, what kind of parent would put their kid in a boat, sail across the ocean? And then put her on TV acting like she's emotionally distraught or a crackhead or something, ranting and raving. But anyhow, I think she's got some severe psychological problems that have been drilled into her by people around her. And it's not fair to her as a person. I hope she looks into other things and comes to make up her own mind instead of just following the brainwashing. Although it'll probably, as they give her more money to go around and speak and stuff, it'll probably turn into a career for her. And that's what a lot of these people do. It turns into a career for them. They can't turn around and say, well, maybe I'm not so sure. If they're honest, they'd be like, this planet's so big and so old, we're really fooling ourselves telling ourselves we can predict the future. So to point out to some of you their methods, how absurd they are with their arguments to convince people with ambiguous and anecdotal evidence that we're on the verge of the destruction of humanity and the whole planet and everything. See, I've always said the argument ought to be, can we make things more efficient and pollute less? Because yes, there's no denying, no one can argue. If you go into the Los Angeles area, and you're coming into it from a higher elevation and you look down, you can see the pollution. If you're in places like Salt Lake City and they get an inversion and it traps all the pollution and everything there down in the valley up against the mountains, you can see the pollution. Lots of other places, maybe you don't see it as bad, but it's there. There's no denying there's pollution and that we should do things because people do die from that. People with respiratory problems and alike, do die from bad air quality days. You hear a lot about, people are dying from coronavirus. You don't hear anything about people dying from bad air days. So that should be the argument. What can industries do, to, if they're making trucks or cars or whatever they're making, to make them more efficient? I mean, economical, efficient, cleaner filtration systems that actually work. The ones they have on these trucks, I think, is a load of hooey, because you only have to clean that filter every 300,000 miles, and the volume of fuel and air and everything that gets burned and then pushed out through the exhaust in 300,000 miles is astronomical. And if you only have to change that filter every 300,000 miles, it can't be trapping much. So, I think people need to stop being alarmist, stop looking, at all these harebrained ideas that come down the pike. We're going to plant windmills everywhere, we're going to do solar everywhere, and all these knee-jerk reactions, which are just a byproduct of these people who are making careers out of telling you there's global warming. Like I said before in one of the other videos, they show this gorge, where this glacier has been receding out of for tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, a million years, whatever it is. And they show you the ice falling down or the water running, it's melting. Well, look here. Once there was a whole bunch of ice there, which meant, it was a lot colder, not the air temperature, the ambient air temperature, from, you know, the sun's warming or what have you, not being as much as it is, but that much ice there, it makes that whole area like an ice box. But as it gradually melts, it doesn't have the same cooling effect. Put a ton of ice inside a big room or a boxcar or something, compared to putting a couple buckets full of ice, and see which takes longer to melt. It'll be where there's more ice will take longer to melt. So as the glacier did what it was supposed to do naturally thousands of years ago and start melting, it exposed more rock. More rock heats more sunlight. It accelerates the process. Sunlight heats it a little more. It accelerates the process a little bit. That rock also runs underneath the ice, so now it's also getting some warming from below it as well as the sunlight above. And you have to look into the reflective part of it too. I mean, if it's all covered by ice and snow, it's reflecting most of the sunlight. As more rock gets exposed, it's not reflecting that much sunlight. If it's dirty snow or whatever on top or whatever, it's not reflecting, it's absorbing more of the heat. This is a natural process. So they show you a big chunk of this glacier, melting or falling off. It's like, well, that's what it's been doing for an eon. Why should I be alarmed by that? Look at the gorge it left behind. It came down, it plowed that big ass gorge down through there, through all that rock and everything, and now it's melting, it's receding back. All those gorges and fords and everything, wouldn't be there. We wouldn't be in North America if the ice didn't melt here. And to say that you can understand the whole picture and the cycles and everything of the Earth is ridiculous. It's so massive. There's so much data you would have to collect, even with the supercomputers they have. They'll offer you, temperature records for the past 100 years. But they're not getting into, how specific are those records and the data? Where were they collected? If you're going to tell me you go to 100 cities around the world and collect that data all day long, and every single thermometer or system that you use is exactly right, and all the safe safeguards and this and that and everything, even then, that's 100 cities. That ain't the whole Earth. Weather changes daily, seasonally. Things run in cycles. There's bigger cycles. But so anyway, to get to their thing. All right. Oh, look. There's ice melting. Oh, look. There were 2 more 115 degree days in Phoenix this month, as opposed to last year. Oh, there was a bad hurricane. Oh, there was whatever. They show you these things. It's like hocus pocus, and that's supposed to be the definitive things that are showing you that there's global warming going on. All right, so here's my thing. Japan had that big earthquake, right? And the tsunami. There have been other big earthquakes around the world. There have been tremors felt on the East Coast. There have been tremors felt in Texas and other places, in Oklahoma. You had some shakers past year or past couple of years down in Southern California. So my thing is, if they want to use anecdotal evidence, like, oh, look, this happened or that happened, I'm going to say, look at this. You've had these earthquakes. You've had volcano eruptions. Oh my God, the planet's going to split apart and crumble into nothing. Or, oh my God, something's about to hatch out of the planet. Look at all these earthquakes and tremors and stuff we have all the time. All the time. You don't see people running around, the sky is falling, oh my God, the planet's going to crumble into pieces. The tectonic plates have moved faster this year than before. They've moved an extra inch around the world. Oh my God, the planet's getting ready to split open. Do you see? Can the evidence they give you, the anecdotal evidence of, hey, look at this. Look what's happening here. This is because of global warming. Well, you could use that to, logic, if you want to call it that, to promote anything. You don't see scientists running around. Maybe that'll be the next thing. If we don't do something, the planet's going to split open. Look, I can show you increased earthquake activity. Do you understand this? People watch TV, they watch these people, they don't make the connection that these people are making a living at this shit. This is their careers. They can't just turn it off and say, because then what? Then they don't get on TV no more. No one buys their book. They don't get on a lecture circuit. They don't get that cushy job at some university. This is their way of staying relevant. It's self-preservation. It's like in Hollywood, these actors and everything, no press is bad press. They will go out and do stupid shit on purpose just to have their name stay relevant and out there so nobody forgets them. It's the same with these scientists. They have to stay relevant because it's their careers. Do you understand that? You need to start looking at things this way because, there's so much crap in this life that is hocus pocus and a dog and pony show and you have salespeople running around who got the egos, they could put dog shit in a box with a bow on it and you'd buy it from them. They can sell anything. And what was it, Ringling Brothers, or Barnum, was it Barn? Yeah, it was P.T. Barnum. Didn't he say something about being able to sell tickets to anything or more or less how gullible people are? I don't think he came out and said that right like that, but that's the gist behind it. That's you got all these salespeople whose egos are so stoked, they can sell you stuff you don't even want to buy. And in a lot of cases, it's true. Because people are taught to be polite and this and that and everything, instead of telling some of these pushy assholes, take a walk. You're polite and you kind of try and get away, and they keep on and keep on. But it's the same thing as Hollywood and the TV news and everything, that they have to sensationalize everything. They have to stay relevant. And that's moving into politics, and these TV stations these news people keep putting on all these so-called experts on everything in politics and this and that and everything, and these people are hawking their ideas or themselves are willing to put themselves out there, talking garbage that they know is garbage just because it's getting them a paycheck. So no matter what you watch, I hardly watch television news or anything, and even stuff at YouTube. I'll look, see if anybody's saying anything that makes any kind of sense. But as far as pundits and stuff like that, no. I mean, if there's something, where some kind of data or something is given, and they don't try and force what that data means on you as, well, hey, this clearly shows, there's a rise in COVID cases, in a lot of places now, and you can tell going the local news stations, even the stories they do, if they're trying to promote this panic, there's more cases, etc. There's also been more testing. Because there's more cases doesn't mean it's this giant killer event that, and I think, when they present that, somebody's died from COVID or whatever on TV, and they're showing, we've had this many cases go on ventilators or this many cases of this and that. Show the ages. Why are you trying to panic the whole population? Not that the lives of those who are elderly or who are getting sick from this and dying from it are any less. But let's face it, it would make a lot more sense if when they're doing these shutdowns, if you just told people, elderly people, and people who might have a pre-existing condition, for them to shelter and stay home and be extra cautious and everything like that, and try and let the rest of life go on, instead of putting all these people out of business, making it hard to feed their kids, instead of shutting down all the schools. Any teachers that are elderly or have pre-existing conditions, tell them to stay home and find substitutes to teach the classes. And you see this Fauci's even flipping now, well, maybe keeping the kids out of school wasn't the right thing to do, because there's so few of them who have gotten COVID and died under the age of 18. Maybe keeping the kids home was, we need to take safeguards, you need to take it serious, but you can't overdo it. It's like Trump said at the beginning of it, the cure can't be worse than the disease. You have suicides, you have divorces going on, you have bankruptcies, you have child abuse going on, crime has increased, everything has gone up. You can't have the cure be worse than the disease. But they wanted to play politics with that statement. Oh my God, he doesn't care. All he cares about is the economy. Oh. It's a sad state of affairs that there's so many people that they bullshitted into this leftist deal that, Trump's the number one bad guy. Anything he says or does, they try and spin. I mean, I thought there was ridiculous stuff. I mean, I don't like Obama's policies and stuff and everything he's done, but there was a lot of ridiculous vitriol and stuff coming from the right and news people and organizations and stuff on the right, to where when he was president, I thought, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. I don't like him either. I don't like, what he's doing, and it's a bunch of bullshit what he's doing. Of course, then you're called a racist, but, and now, if you're black and you don't like what Biden's doing, guess what? You're not black. If he ends up being president and you don't like what he's doing and you're black, now they're going to tell you you're not black. Oh my God. Can things get any dumber in this country? But, what the right said and did and stuff about Obama when he was president pales in comparison to the onslaught and the things the left has done during President Trump's administration. Just absolutely unbelievable. And the fact that they have so many people who have not bothered, all they know is they're against that racist, this and that. Doesn't matter that if he's done something that's improved their lives, they're not even paying attention to that. They're not even making the connection. They just know all the bullshit. So they're against him. Then when if Biden does get in and stuff, and he changes a bunch of stuff and things go bad, you know what they're going to do? Well, that's because that's the remnants of Trump. That's not anything we did. That's not anything we changed back. That's just the so the dummy who benefited from Trump being in office through his job got better or whatever, or more stable, or what have you. His price of prescriptions went down or what have you. That still didn't give any credit to Trump or anything, because the left told him it was because of other reasons. Isn't going to make the correlation that, hey, things went back to shit when Biden got in. They're just going to keep believing them people on the left. That's just it's not us. It was what Trump did. People don't stop to take a look at things for themselves. They just listen to all them jackasses on TV. So, anyhow, that was the basis of this one was supposed to be, I'm sorry, it's early in the morning, I keep losing train of thought. The basis of this one was supposed to be just about the global warming stuff. So I'll just refresh on that. So when they show you something and they go, this is because of global warming, and the cause of global warming is CO2, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Number one, what they're showing you doesn't prove global warming. And they cannot even honestly tell you if CO2 levels over the past hundreds of thousands of years are actually any different than they ever have been. Because it's where they take measurements and the levels in the upper atmosphere is composed as compared to down here. So there's a lot that goes into it. And then they cannot tell you whether CO2 levels would be causing global warming, or if there's another thing causing global warming, like the sun or something causing global warming, if the CO2 levels, if they're elevated, if that's a byproduct of the global warming. Do you understand that? So I say there's so much data, and this earth is so big that these people, they latch on to something because it's a mainstay for them. It is a career path for them. They can make money going to lectures. They can get the right jobs at universities. Listen, they can write books. They can do. It is just a career path for them. They are making careers out of the weather and trying to tell you they can predict the future. Do you understand that? They are soothsayers. Soothsayers. They're no different than the ones in the 70s who said we'd be living in an ice age by now, or fast approaching one. So I say, when they tell you, look at this and look at that, it means the earth, it's global warming, and also I say, look at this, there's an earthquake here, an earthquake there. That means the planet's going to fall apart. It's the same logic. Godzilla's about to hatch. All right, wish you all the best out there. I hope that gives some people out there, a little perspective on how they ought to look at things and what fairy tale shit that's been drummed into their heads since they were kids. So maybe they start looking at it a different way and say, wait a minute, these people really know what they're talking about? All right, wish you all the best out there. Have a good one. Let the focus be on efficiency, economy, better systems for the sake of it just being cleaner air or cleaner water, what have you. Don't get into the global warming shit, all right? That divides everybody and keeps the focus off of what we should really be doing, is trying, because we're going to need to be more economical and this and that, and to compete globally in a global economy. We got the best transportation system in the world right now. There's no reason not to keep seeking to make it better. These trucks running down the road now, you can get 7-8 miles a gallon out of them steady, some of them 9. There's no reason to get it to where we can't get it up to 10-11 miles per gallon steady. That would do so much for us being able to compete, so much for us using less fossil fuels and less pollution and everything, more than all this other crap they're doing. You understand? Need to get the engineers and designers working, and not all these yahoos who run around screaming the sky is falling. All right, wish you all the best out there. God bless.